Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I've got a video clip of Steve Jobs of Apple. What other Steve Jobs is there? That I've got to share with you. And it's a perfect comparison of like what was going on between Apple and the press in 1997 when Apple as a company was really just trying to save their entire brand, save their company, and rebound, and what was going on between the press at large and Apple, comparing that to what is going on with, specifically XRP and also Ripple, relative to the way that the press and perhaps you could even say that the crypto community at large is responding to XRP, because there are so many Bitcoin maximalists out there and maximalists of other coins, and they just want to tear down anything that they don't hold. And so this is not a video about specifically the correlation and some sort of correlation in terms of what Apple was doing versus the business model for Ripple. It's more about conceptually what is going on as it pertains to the stock price for Apple and the market rate of XRP and how the media is responding to that. So I'm going to run through that. I'm going to talk with you a bit about XRP adoption, XRapid adoption, and the concept of why XRP has a market value and should have a market value, and why that should persist into the future, assuming there's a continued adoption of the technology. And then I'm going to wrap up the video with something unrelated, which is why I'm going to save it for the very end. And if you're not interested, I will not be offended if you go ahead and tap out before that or right when it pops up, whatever. It's fine. You don't have to listen to the whole thing. It's cool. But this is a piece from CoinDesk I just found fascinating. And it's titled, PayPal withdraws from Facebook-led Libra crypto project. Now, before we get rolling here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you would please delicately tap that like button. No need to smash it. That is unnecessary aggression. Let's be adults. You just tap it. And go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel if you have not already, because it does a body good. Ask your doctor. So look at this tweet that I got from Lord Lionel on Twitter here. Who writes, "This is why I ignore all alts and Bitcoin and only buy XRP. The more FUD and attacks against XRP, the more I need to buy XRP, because it's the future of everything." And so I did something that I don't normally do, but since it's a video clip, I thought it would be best. I want to make sure I've got a few thoughts collected here. And so what I did was, as I was watching this short video clip, it's 1 minute and 50 seconds, and I encourage you to check this out once the video is over. I just went ahead and jotted a few notes, emailed them to myself, and I'm holding my phone looking at them right now so that I can share it with you. So this was some sort of conference. It doesn't matter what it was. I don't know what it was, but this is 1997. Steve Jobs is speaking to a gigantic audience. I don't know if it was similar to the type of annual thing they do now with updates in terms of the new Apple products with the iPhone and the Apple Watch and all that stuff. Maybe it was the equivalent in 1997. I'm just guessing here. I didn't look it up. It really doesn't matter. But somebody stood up in the crowd and posed the question, what do we do about the press? And the way in which he phrased it made me wonder if he's actually an Apple employee. So maybe it was actually just a conference with a bunch of Apple employees. I'm actually really not sure. Again, really doesn't matter for the point of this video. But he said, what do we do about the press? You know, they keep tearing us apart, this and that verbally, and they're just kind of not educated, and they can't really see what indeed is going on here. And he said this, and this is a quote from the guy that posed the question. He wrote. He said, "Icebergs are built from the bottom up." Now, obviously, nobody's out there manufacturing icebergs. Doesn't matter. I get what he was saying. Here's a picture of an iceberg. And so you can only see what's on the surface here, right? But there's a lot going on underneath. So I understand the comparison that he's making. So that's the reason that I pulled up a graphic of an iceberg here on the good old Moon Lambo channel, where we're always partying about XRP. So Jobs responded to this, and it was a thoughtful response. It was just off the cuff, and it rang true to me. And the stuff that he said, tell me, does this not make you think about the current state of the crypto asset class as it pertains to XRP price action and the way that Ripple's treated and other developers building on top of the XRP ledger? So here's what he said. I just made a few bullet points here. These are not exact quotes, but here's what Jobs had to say. He said it made him think about changing and growing as a person. You know, sometimes when you're growing as a person, even if you've changed, people want to treat you like you were being, as if you were the same person that you were 18 months ago. That's what he said. But now maybe you've learned from some of your, I can't remember exactly how we phrased it, like social awkwardness, something to that effect. But now, because you've learned, you're more capable. And you said it can be very frustrating. And you said it's the same with a company. And this rings true because, again, at this time, for those of you that don't know, Apple indeed was having a hard time. There was a point where Steve Jobs was ousted as CEO, and I can't remember exactly when he was brought back in as CEO. Maybe it was the mid-'90s. I really can't remember. You can fact-check me. It doesn't matter, again, for the purpose of this. And then he said, press has a lag time in understanding what is happening with Apple. And I would say that the same is true with the XRP ecosystem. Now, it's not exactly a perfect comparison, as in XRP didn't flounder and then come back, but the point being, Apple as a company was just down. Conceptually, everybody got it. It seemed like a risky thing to invest in. And most people couldn't see what was actually happening inside of the company. Similarly, even though XRP didn't flounder, it's always been a fine technology, it's still at a bottom point, right? Because people are still trying to figure out this asset class. And so, the question again being, what's happening within the XRP ecosystem? And I've been saying this for a long time. This is why I feel so fortunate. None of this is financial advice, but I feel like when I entered the world of crypto in November of 2017, I feel like I came across something special. I came into crypto and I thought, what the heck? There's this rally around this Bitcoin thing. I knew really nothing about it. It's like, I'm just going to put a little bit of money and then forget about it. And if it's worth something a decade later, super duper. That's what I was thinking. But then I was a little curious, and so went to CoinMarketCap and I went through dozens of coins one by one by one. And I was excited that one of the first coins I came across, it was XRP, and I learned about Ripple. And I was like, here's one where you could actually use it. And I was like, this is starting to make sense to me. This makes a lot of sense. I was like, maybe I'll find others. And I went through dozens of coins research, and then I eventually got tired of it. I was like, none of these other coins do a damn thing. None of them. And then I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so there's a reason that XRP is where it is in terms of market cap, so some people must get it. Some must get it. That's why it's ranked where it is, but so many people must not if you just look at the price. And why is it valued less than Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin's got the name recognition, and there's a frenzy around the technology, and by and large, people simply have not figured this stuff out. And so that was where I was at in the moment here. All right, and so let me get into the next bullet point here. I'm looking at my phone again. And so Steve says, what to do about this? What do you do about the fact that people, by and large, just don't get what is going on with Apple? And so, again, with XRP, what do you do given that, there's a bunch of Bitcoin maxis out there, and there's a bunch of people out there that just don't understand the ecosystem being built around XRP and also Interledger, by the way, which I'm not going to get into in this video, but the blend of XRP and Interledger, and then all the other developers on top, like Coil and Omni and R3 and all this. Most people don't know that. First of all, most people don't even know about Bitcoin. Even fewer know about XRP. And even fewer that, even if you bought XRP, even fewer have taken the time to thoroughly research it. And I don't entirely blame people. I mean, if you put money into something, you should probably research it. But then again, I put some money into like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin the first day I jumped into crypto, and I hadn't researched it. I was like, whatever. If I lose it, I lose it. Just for the fun of it, I'll watch it. But it was just a really minimal amount of money. And so I get that. But, in terms of researching this stuff, I think a lot of people that have invested in XRP really haven't really gotten down to the nitty-gritty about the technology and the way in which it's being adopted, right? And so, again, what to do? And Steve Jobs says, and I think this is perfectly true for XRP, and developers building on top of the XRP ledger are doing this, but Steve Jobs says, communicate facts. Communicate what is actually happening within Apple, the company. And I do think that's what's happening here. I think facts and utility, that is what will win the day. That is what instills investor confidence. That's my everyday Joe Schmo opinion, no financial background here. I'm just telling you my personal opinion, all right? Don't buy or sell because of me. And then, here's my next bullet point that I wrote here in my email. The press and stock price will take care of themselves. That's what Steve Jobs had to say. And I just want to state that I believe the same is true with whether it's mainstream press or crypto media and XRP. I'm telling you, just my humble opinion, what is being reported in media and the price of XRP, it's going to work itself out based on utility, the actual technology, the actual adoption. I think that proof of work should go the way of the dodo. It should go extinct. Why would it not? because unless there's a way, the only way you could convince me that it shouldn't is if you can find a way to scale, eliminate the tremendous energy burdens. But then if that's the case, why not just use better layer 1 technology? Seriously. And Lightning Network is not a reasonable solution because it requires pre-funding of accounts, and it's centralized. It's a centralized solution. It's completely antithetical to what the original premise of Bitcoin was in Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper regarding a peer-to-peer cashless system. So why would you want to adopt that? It don't make no damn sense, says Moon Lambo. I'm just sharing with you my opinion. And then the last bullet point I wrote here, this was a short clip after all. If the press shorts Apple stock, Steve Jobs says, go out and buy Apple stock. And I love that. Now, that is a bullish statement. That is a bullish statement. And to me, look, I buy on a regular schedule XRP. I don't care. I don't buy into like whether people are FOMOing in and buying and the price is ramping up or if they're panic selling. I don't care. I am impervious to that type of price action. I am bulletproof. I am also Mr. Bull XRP, which is why I'm here for the long haul. And I don't care how long it takes. I know what's coming. XRP's utility will absolutely win the day. So take a look at this. In terms of buying Apple stock, had you heeded his advice? So look at this. Right now, as I'm recording this, looks like this Apple price, this stock price is $227. All right. I just pulled this up on Google. I just Googled Apple stock price. All right. And this is what popped up here. And so you can look over the last year. Here you go. So it's been a little volatile, whatever. You can look over the last 5 years, and there you go. 5 years ago, it was at $105. Let's look out for the max timeline here. Whoa, if you're looking at the screen here, you are going to be perhaps astonished here. And if you are driving, though, motorist, you keep your hands on the wheel at 10 and 2 so that you don't become crashed into nature or a building. Be safe out there. But take a look at this. So, in 1997, so this again is when it was happening, it's looking like the price bounced around anywhere from around like, what, 50, 60 cents, 70 cents, all around there, just kind of bouncing around. Even into like 1998, that's about where it was. But think about that. You could have bought Apple for under $1. Fast forward to 2019, and that's worth $227. And so it goes back to the concept. Look here, here's the iceberg again. What is it that you can see and what can you not see? And so while we, as XRP investors, we're not buying into Ripple, most certainly not, and we don't know, we're not privy to all of the insider knowledge, just based on the publicly available knowledge, ask yourself, does it make sense to continually invest in XRP and hold it? The answer for me is a firm yes. I am happy to. I don't care how long it takes the rest of the world to figure it out. I know what I know. And look, I'm very transparent, so I'll tell you, if anything changes and I no longer have confidence in XRP or something that's coming in that's getting better adoption, it's a better coin and it's getting better adoption, I'm going to tell you. I'm just telling you right now, there's nothing on the horizon, and XRP is not being adopted to solve the use cases that other coins out there are being positioned to be used for various things, whatever it is, whatever it may be. And so I, personally, am nothing but bullish here. And so again, like I said, it's not some sort of comparison as if Apple's exactly the same as the situation with Ripple or XRP. It's more the sentiment of press treating the stock of Apple the same way that press is treating the market price of XRP. That's more so the comparison that I wanted to draw here. And there's a lot happening, and it is early days, and I am so happy to be here. And I'm keeping emotions out of my buying and selling and holding. Take a look at this. You want to talk about real-world adoption? Here's a piece from A&B Crypto. XRP transaction in batches of 28,000 XRP pop up overnight from Bitstamp to Bitso. Now, these are both XRapid enabled exchanges. And let me show you this before I dig into the piece. There's this video clip I got from Stephen Bull from the DIP, if I'm saying that, DIEP. Bitstamp is the fourth XRapid partner. This tweet was from December 18th, 2018, and I had to dig this up. And I looked at this, and once I listened to this again, I recalled a video that I made, and so I had to go back and look at my own videos. It turns out the third video I ever made on this channel was about this with Monica Long and Brad Garlinghouse. There was this little piece where they're talking back and forth. I guess you'd call her, it's an interview. She's interviewing Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. And I think it sounded to me like it kind of slipped out because there was no official announcement about Bitstamp being an XRapid partner. And doing a quick Google before this, I don't know that there ever was. You can fact check me. Like I quickly Googled, nothing instantly came up. And to be honest, there's so much news out there. I forgot. I gotta admit this because there's so much news. I need repetition to like retain stuff, right? Just like most humans, or every human really. I forgot that Bitstamp was the fourth XRapid exchange partner. So there you go. But anyway, I just wanted to highlight that real quick. And it was funny looking back, too, because that was the third video I made, and I looked at it. That must have been back when I had like 15 subscribers, when I had my channel for a few days. And it's got like 85 views. Like it's like nothing. It's I'll tell you what, it takes a lot of persistence to build a YouTube channel. But I was going to stick with it regardless, even if it never got to the point where it is now. But check this out. So again, XRP transaction in batches of 28,000 XRP pop up overnight from Bitstamp to Bitso. All right. Ripple has been actively pushing its technology using the digital asset XRP in the traditional market, with traditional money transfer companies like MoneyGram adopting XRP and then XRP/MXN. Volume saw a noticeable spike on Bitso by 25%. However, an anomaly was noticed as transactions between Bitstamp and Bitso registered a never-seen-before spike. Bitso Exchange accepts fiat from financial institution and executes trades via Ripple's XRapid. Twitter user @HallwayMonitor2, that's a fun name, reported an oddity in this behavior through a tweet. Here you can see DT253705527 from Bitstamp to Bitso recently changed its behavior. It used to send big transactions randomly, now it sends 28,000 to 30,000 XRP transactions, almost like a heartbeat. And these are both XRP-enabled exchanges. And so that's why there's a theory out there is just some sort of rebalancing of funds within the XRP ecosystem. Again, speculation, I don't know. Piece continues, after looking into the transactions taking place on October 6, till press time, from Bitstamp to Bitso, it was found that a total of 28 XRP transactions took place, and each of these transactions was over 28,000 XRP. The value of these transactions revolved around the amount of 28,368.12312 XRP and may have flooded the exchange with XRP orders, causing a spike in the volume of XRP on Bitso. Other analysts on Twitter paid heed to this rising volume of XRP in the Mexican corridor. Another Twitter user speculated someone causing the spike through a chart explaining the trend since the beginning of execution of trades, which states XRP on-demand liquidity. The usual suspects transferred more than $1.2 million transferred from Bitstamp to Bitso. Someone is ramping up. And then the piece continues. The rising chart highlighted 4 instances where there was barely any significant volume, followed by tall spikes. When previous statistics were taken into consideration, XRP/MXN volume had briefly surpassed, words are hard, man. Moon Lambos having a tough grasp of the English language right now. BTC/MXN volume on Bitso. In September 2019, Bitso Liquidity Index recorded an all-time high of XRP/MXN trading volume compared to Bitcoin/MXN. Check this out now. XRapid transactions have not slowed down in recent bear markets. According to an independent XRP enthusiast on Twitter, the XRapid volume witnessed a massive spike, especially after the MoneyGram partnership. Although there is no definitive data to confirm these transactions being executed via XRapid, the above data could be connected to XRapid transactions since Bitso and Bitstamps are known to be XRapid corridors for Mexico and the U.S. respectively. And I think it's reasonable to speculate that. I don't think that's outrageous to state that that may be the case. I want to briefly touch on, I'm going to try and be real brief on this, something I've talked about fairly recently a couple times, just the concept of XRP, why it has market value and why it should have market value. And it comes down to frankly, here's the cool thing. And I mentioned this in a video, I think just yesterday. So, like, why does gold have value? It's not backed by anything, right? So why does it have value? And a gold bug like Peter Schiff might say, well, because you can melt gold down and turn it into jewelry. Like, as a utility, you can use it for something. And I say, okay, that's actually a pretty reasonable argument. It can be used for stuff. And part of it's scarcity, of course. Yes. Well, look at XRP, though. If it's got scarcity, 100 billion of them, I'll tell you what, when you're talking about if there's global adoption, 100 billion ain't that much. But in terms of utility, businesses need it to conduct their particular business models. Think about Coil. Think about what Ripple's using to utilize XRP as a bridge currency. These businesses need it, or they cannot succeed within their business models. That is utility. It's similar to gold conceptually. The reason which it should have an open market value and does not need to be backed by anything. All right? And so what's this look like? Why would XRP price rise? Well, some people have stated in the XRP community, and a lot. I've seen other XRP YouTubers state this, and I got to tell you, with what I'm about to tell you, like, I just disagree with them respectfully, gentlemen's disagreement. I think that there are a lot of people out there that have the ecosystem exactly backwards, the way in which they've figured it out. And they say that as demand rises for XRapid cross-border payments, of course XRP has to rise. They'll say, quote, it has to rise because there's demand for these transactions via XRapid. And I say, no. You've got it exactly backwards. The reason that transactions can be facilitated via XRapid is because there is already an open market rate that has a sufficient blend of XRP price and XRP liquidity, with liquidity being more important than price, of course. But the point being that you cannot conduct these transactions unless humans have already previously speculated to such a degree that XRP has a sufficient price, and then hopefully if enough people get involved in the ecosystem, there are sufficient pools of liquidity at various exchanges and through market makers the world over. That's what it looks like. And so I've had some people in the XRP community, I see this, and again, nothing against these people. I love diversity of thought, and we're all just trying to figure this stuff out, so I'm sharing my opinion. If you think I've got it wrong, tell me. I love talking about this stuff. To me, it's just fun. It's not like some heated argument. Like, this is fun to talk about. I love the critical thinking aspect. But as far as what drives this then, okay, because people are saying, well, if there's that much demand through XRapid, the XRP price just can't go any lower than a certain price. I heard an XRP YouTuber recently say it was something like $111. And I flatly disagree, because if that's your stance, that XRP price now can't go just because there's demand from customers of remittance companies and financial institutions and banks, just because there's that demand from them, you tell me, what is there in place to prevent the price of XRP from decreasing? What is there in place to prevent panic selling of XRP, which would make perhaps XRP at some point, hypothetically, not quite liquid enough to fulfill all demand? What is that? Is there something technologically in place that would prevent what we're talking about? We're talking about a price floor here, really. That's what we're talking about conceptually, right? We're talking about a price floor. Is there anything in XRapid that would create a price floor? Well, no, because it's humans that choose the price of XRP. That is the case now and always will be. Even if you talk about bots. Bots are there's parameters set by bots, and humans choose the parameters, and so there you go. It's going to be whatever the humans decide can be bought and sold. Same with XRapid. It uses an efficient path-seeking algorithm to route the most efficient path for XRP transactions, right? That's what it does. And so it's going to behave fundamentally different than emotional humans that buy and sell. Completely different. And so you might say, okay, so there's demand for XRapid, and as a result, if people see the price go low, well, then it's just going to be bought back up. Okay, well, you're talking about buying and selling pressures, but understand that as the ecosystem is built out, there are a lot of other builders developing on top of the XRP ledger. And I want to be clear, like, none of this is bearish stuff. I'm just talking about the way in which it functions. I think that there's going to be plenty of price action and liquidity. So understand, I'm Mr. XRP Bull. I don't want this to come off wrong. This is, like, to me, this is positive. This is good. I'm just acknowledging the way in which the ecosystem works. And it's perfectly reasonable. It's perfectly fine. So this is not some bearish thing. I'm saying this is positive. But understand there are going to be other. What if there are 10 different developers building on top of the XRP ledger? Let's just say hypothetically they're all having equal success, all right? And Ripple's just one of them at this point. This hypothetical scenario. Well, let's say that 5 or 6 of them start to kick the bucket. The developers building on top are having hard times for whatever reason that causes a lack of investor confidence in XRP. What do you think is going to happen? And not that I think this is going to. It's a fun mental exercise. That's all this is. Well, in theory, perhaps XRP price might go down and people might panic sell, and then there wouldn't, for the short term, there wouldn't be enough liquidity as a result in order to facilitate XRapid transactions. Which is why perhaps, maybe not all Nostro Vostro accounts go away. Maybe just the vast majority go away. Maybe that's what this is going to look like. Who knows? That could be the case. It could also be the case that maybe temporarily XRP price sometimes even once it's a mature asset class, it could be the case that the price of XRP may go down sometimes, and then there's not quite sufficient liquidity, but then people recognize this, and it's an indicator, oh my gosh, look at this, now XRP is a buy, and then more people come back into the ecosystem, and now you got too much liquidity, and then people are FOMOing in. Well, that can happen too. So again, none of this is some sort of negative outlook. It's very positive. I'm just acknowledging the way in which the price action and price discovery is going to occur. Let's just be realists about this. And I just think that many people in the XRP community don't realize this, and they just flatly have a misunderstanding of the way this works. And so, and everything that I've researched for nearly 2 years now, this is the way that I see the ecosystem functioning. Now, if you think I'm wrong, I love diversity of thought. I love to engage in critical thinking. So if you think I got it wrong, let me know why specifically. And look, I'm a humble guy, so if you change my mind, I'm not going to that's just going to hold my ground and pretend like I'm right. I hate it when humans do that on any subject matter. I would rather say, wow, that's a really good point I hadn't thought of. And I'd say, great, I agree with you. And that way I can stop being wrong. So I'm just saying, if you think I'm wrong, let me know why. But again, been looking into this for almost 2 years, and this is what makes the most sense to me. So let me hop into the next piece here, because the video is definitely longer than what I intended here. PayPal withdraws from Facebook-led Libra crypto project. PayPal has withdrawn from the Libra Association, the company announced Friday. A PayPal spokesperson told CoinDesk in a statement that the payments firm made the decision to forego further participation in the Facebook-initiated crypto project to instead continue to focus on advancing our existing mission and business priorities as we strive to democratize access to financial services for underserved populations. The statement continued, quote, "We remain supportive of Libra's aspirations and look forward to continued dialogue on ways to work together in the future. Facebook has been a long-standing and valued strategic partner to PayPal, and we will continue to partner with and support Facebook in various capacities." And so there you go. I don't know if Libra is ever going to be actually launched, but like I stated in the past, all these quote-unquote partners, and 27, 28 of them, whatever it was, it's more like, it's like a commitment to maybe commit, which means it wasn't ever a commitment in the first place. It's more like a bunch of entities that were thinking, hey, maybe we'll do this, but maybe not. That's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!